Hey everybody, we have a slightly different Webmaster video for you today. Right as we were in the middle of taping Webmaster videos, we were also keeping an eye on Twitter, and we got a question from Richard Hornsby. And Richard asked, someday, could you do video on the process of shooting videos? As a small and medium business owner, seems like your workflow would be a great model to follow. I totally agree, and it's wonderful because all I have to do is talk, and Wiz does all the actual work. So Wiz, what kind of equipment do you use whenever we film these videos?
Yeah, sure. I can maybe talk about what we have right now, and you also said it might be interesting to talk about how it's evolved over time. But it's been pretty constant in the basics in that we have we have a camera on a tripod, and the camera can really be whatever you're comfortable within your budget, and even your skill level, right? So you probably don't want to get a super advanced camera if you don't you're not a video professional, right?
Totally.
You're a business owner in some other field, but you want to do some videos, and so in a lot of cases you can do something with just a standard camcorder.
Yeah, or even a flip or something.
Yeah, a flip camera, or even your phone. A lot of those shoot HD video now.
Oh wow, okay.
And then there's like a couple of things though that you can do that would bring you just to the point that you're higher than like what the average person would do.
Cool.
And so most people don't think about lighting, right? So they'll walk into a room and just kind of shoot the video as is. And so there's like three steps you can do. One is get a tripod.
Yes.
So then you get rid of the shaky, zoomy stuff. Set your frame. Just don't zoom in or out during the shot. Just compose it like you're composing a photograph. And so that's you're already better than most stuff that you'll see on a video site like YouTube.
Holding it up, doing the selfie.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that you can do is the next thing that you can do is the lighting. And so we have right now we have 3 lights in here, but in the early days before we had lights for these, I would just book a conference room that had a window in it because I knew that it had natural light. And so I think we shot the first Webmaster videos in this room.
Yeah. And
so we just had the window behind us, facing you for the light.
That worked very well.
And and it's a very that's where you get kind of the best lighting is naturally. Since then we've brought in just a couple of smaller lights that one's just sitting on the table and the other is sitting on a chair in the conference room, so nothing fancy, just coming from a couple of different angles. And then you have your tripod and you have your lighting, and then the final thing that almost no one really thinks about is getting good sound. If you've ever tried to listen to maybe you've seen a small business put out a video and you can tell that they've taken a lot of time to put it together, but you're kind of struggling to hear, and that's pretty frustrating as a user. So if you can, first of all, just make sure you're in a quiet space. But if you can actually get an external microphone and hook it up to your camera, and you can get those at like a Radio Shack or Best Buy. There's a lot of inexpensive models. Search around online, and then you're the production value is just so much better.
Yeah, you're automatically head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Now, how about your workflow? How do you, so you got a raw video file in some file format. How do you get it ready for YouTube? What tools do you use? All that sort of stuff.
Sure. So I just have a Mac at my desk with, I use Final Cut Pro. So I think that's $300 now. And that used to be like $1,000 program or something like that. So it's actually relatively inexpensive for what you get. And we just import in right off the SD card there. It's an MPEG file, and what I've done is basically created a template. And so what's nice about Matt's videos is that it's
We're very predictable.
It's
right?
a very standard format, right? It's a question and answer, which is good if you want to do videos. You don't have to think through, okay, what's our script every single time, and what do we want to get across. So, maybe you have like a monthly series that you do as a business owner where you're talking about, recent work that you've done or something like that. So that way you can, it's easier for you to set up the framework for what your content's going to be.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then the actual uploading process, how is that?
Yeah, that's just going to youtube.com and clicking on the upload button, and we try to use a descriptive title and a good description. And that's where we'll put in any links to additional context.
Okay.
And we also use the tags as well, and we get them captioned.
Okay.
Then people who can't hear or want to read it in a different language can do that as well.
That's wonderful.
So it's just a few little tricks that you can do to just bump up the production values so you're better than the average video, and you can go crazy with it, but I was mentioning Final Cut. iMovie is free, and for what we do, like even the types of videos that you're watching right now, that could actually be done in iMovie as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's funny because we have done low production values and we've done high production values. Like the very first videos I ever recorded were in my home, and I got some really hot lights and I was sweating, and then we've done all the way up to the studio at Google, but that costs money and they want to have makeup and you got to get reservations and all that.
Yeah.
So we're actually kind of back down to the lo-fi. We're like, we can knock out a bunch of videos in one day. All we need is a conference room without a big, heavy, like air conditioning sound, and that plus a few simple software tools and YouTube, and you're good to go.
Yeah. It's great to keep it lightweight. I mean, we spend more time researching the questions and focusing on the content now, and not so much on the tweaking the lights and all that kind of stuff.
You do need to decide whether you want to go for super polished, in which case you got to make sure you got the good audio and all that stuff. But even informal can work pretty well because like we normally do these webmaster videos in one take. If there's a horrible thing I say wrong, then we'll do it in 2 takes. For the first time ever, I think we had a 3-taker earlier today, and it was. I made mistakes in the first 10 seconds each time, like saying somebody's name wrong. But otherwise, they're pretty easy to just throw up. So throw up on YouTube, not throw up in general. So.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, well, Wiz, thanks very much for the tips on how to make good videos.
Thanks.
Cool.